Goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Kyneton, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Worst down Periscope sequel ever.
Oh, that right there, man, is a super deep cut. I used to love Down Periscope.
Yeah, I loved it when it first came out, but I was also like 10. I'd be very interested to watch it again.
I think it was because of Lauren Holly. That was the reason. That's a bad movie nowadays. Like, if you try to watch it now, it is very cringeworthy. But yeah, now Down Periscope used to be a favorite. Like, I used to love What's His Face, who was like the weirdo on. I mean, they're all weirdos on there, but like the one guy who was like
the dolphin voices and stuff. No,
he was like electrocuting himself.
Oh,
yeah. Like, he would electrocute himself to like for comms.
We know where you can
That
electrocute yourself in bed on it. Money plane.
Yes, we're on episode 237. And this week, after doing, such a great movie with like the Batman, we felt we had to follow up such an awesome movie with an equally awesomely bad shit film. And we get that with Money Plane. So
it's all about balance. It's yin and shit.
It really is. You're not wrong. Now, for those of you who are listening, you're going to notice that my voice is not as buttery awesome as it usually is, and that's because I'm dealing with the back half of a head cold, because little kid germs knock adults on their ass. Like, it is without a doubt the most bizarro thing.
Little kids are petri dishes, man.
They really are. So my voice is shit, but I'm if you see me here, because again, we're doing this with YouTube today, I'll be drinking water. So that's the thing.
And I just got off work where there's beer, so I will be drinking beer because
that's cool. That's always cool.
I was there for 13 hours today. It's beer time.
You did 13 hours today. Damn, boy.
Yeah, when you're running events, shit happens.
Were there any good events today?
No,
at the Row House.
No, they all sucked. Actually,
all sucked. You know what I
like,
did see.
Yeah.
You know, I did see that was actually pretty cool. Did I see that the little movie you worked on, Sist, got picked up for some distro?
Yeah, finally. Yeah,
boy. Good stuff there.
Yeah,
we got to watch that, by the way, because I've yet to see it. You've seen it yet, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we had like a watch party through Zoom or something like that for the cast and crew and stuff. Yeah, it turned out very well. And it's one of those things that don't expect going into this to think like the monster effects are going to like be realistic. It's supposed to be like a 50s or 60s.
I mean,
horror movie?
Do people really think that it's
sort of George Hardy and Crisis Tarot? Yeah.
I mean, you know who it is going in, right? Like I knew who it was. Like, I mean, that's great. Yeah. But speaking of B movies, talk Money Plane today. Now, this movie I did not know anything about. John, this was another one of these why do you do this to me movies? Like, you do this to me all the time where you like, like there have been times I've messaged you and I've been like, okay, well, John, what's a good movie to watch? And you'll give me like some really good picks. Like Lauren and I, we watched, what was it? The Night House. Mm-hmm. And that was one of your suggestions and we loved it. But then at the same time, you will give me these movies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I seriously don't. But anyway, yeah. Money Plane. I had no idea what the fuck this movie was. And you put this on my doorstep and I can't believe it. Like, I was watching just going like, are they really doing that? And then I saw like the actual people in it. And I'm like, Denise Richards, Kelsey Grammer, all three of the Laurence Brothers, which, The Edge,
Not the Edge. This isn't U2.
That's right.
This is the rated R superstar.
Yes.
Adam Copeland.
Edge from WWE. And Thomas Jane, the Punisher, he's in it. Most underused person in the whole movie, besides Edge himself. Sorry, told you. Back end of a cold. So yeah, you gave me this movie and I watched it, and the whole time watching, I'm just going like, what? Well,
I think that this is one of those, and I'm sure a lot of people are not going to know what I'm talking about. But there's a term up for geezer teasers.
Is that okay? So can you explain to me what a geezer teaser is?
Yeah, and we've recently found out about the situation with Bruce Willis, and I mean, that's rough to hear, but before we knew all that, he was the king of the geezer teaser, which are movies that,
I don't know, John Travolta, pretty much.
John Cusack, Nick Cage, a lot of guys, are in this, like if you're ever at like the grocery store and they got one of those red boxes there and you see a movie and you go, hey, I remember that actor, but I've never heard of that movie. It's one of these kind of things where they get a budget of like $800,000 and it's usually an action movie. It's some famous person that you remember in the movie. And what happens is 700,000 of that, no, let's call it 780,000 of that $800,000 budget goes to this one name actor. They bring him on for maybe a weekend, shoot their scenes as quickly as possible, usually with them sitting in a chair, being fed their lines right in front of the camera, green screen kind of stuff, over the phone, whatever they can to cut around it, and then that famous person leaves, and then they take whatever pittance left of the money they have to try to cut together an action adventure movie. But they already know they don't care how this turns out. It's only there to turn a profit, and they don't have enough money to make a good movie in the first place, even if the script was any good, which it's not. And then they pump these out to Redbox and, all those like streaming services like Tubi and shit like that.
I won't shit on Tubi. I've known a lot of filmmakers, especially my friend Steve Rosinski. They've had a lot of success on Tubi. So I won't shit on, So I won't shit on them. But I'm just saying, like, I feel terrible about the whole Bruce Willis thing because I know we shit on him. We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
We're assholes. We know that. But I mean, honestly, I feel terrible for him because, getting diagnosed with any sort of disease is horrible enough, especially something that affects your livelihood, being able to act. That's literally what the man did. So I feel terrible for him. But then again, I look at like John Travolta. So there's no excuse for that one.
Yeah, as far as we know, but
this is a weird one. This is a very bizarre because this isn't really. I don't know if this was necessarily be a geezer teaser. I mean, the Kelsey Grammer angle totally, but like this was a Laurence Brother movie. Like, and
it could be a combination. It could be the Laurence Brothers trying to start their own production company or like get off the ground. But Kelsey Grammer is easily like your 8th biggest geezer teaser you could get for your movie.
Yeah. This was so weird. So, I when I saw that the Laurence Brothers were the ones behind it, that right there was better than the Kelsey Grammer thing. Don't get me wrong. Kelsey Grammer being in this literally made this movie palatable because every scene that he was in was quite literally the best scene. Like you could tell that Kelsey Grammer is having fun. Now that's whatever. I mean, he was Beast a couple years ago, and now he's Darius Emmanuel Grouch the Third, also known as
the Rumble.
No. You got to pause there. You got to give at least 5 beats.
Well, he's got to pop out the cigar. Yeah. Okay.
The Rumble. Yeah. Because you've got the name Grouch. I mean, honestly, like your nickname's Oscar at that point. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. You could come up with anything. Now I get that Darius Emmanuel Grouch's life story is that he was made fun of for his entire existence compared to the Oscar the Grouch. And so that's why he came up with the nickname the Rumble. Because it sounds badass.
Well, I think in the original script, his name was Darius Emmanuel Bad Guy the Third.
Bad Guy McBad Guy.
It's a little too on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Fraiser Crane.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there are some hilarious videos, and I'm gonna link to them when we actually post this episode online to our podcast. And I'll put them in the YouTube thing here. But there are some fantastic mashups of lines from Darius Emmanuel Grouch III that I cracked up. There's my absolute favorite is the little toaster that could. Remember that movie from like the 80s? But they took all the lines and had it with all the characters, but it's Darius Emmanuel Grouch saying words, and it's, oh my God, I literally was laughing my ass off when I was watching it. But
yeah, you sent that to me, and I kind of lost control.
I was in bed watching. I'm just like, this is fucking hilarious. but yeah, so this movie, I gotta tell you, again, directed by the Laurence Brothers. Now, people who are younger than us may not know who the Laurence Brothers are. So I'm going to give you kind of a little, I don't know, history lesson of the 90s, because that's really when you could say that the Laurence Brothers really had their time, except for Andrew Lawrence. He really didn't have any time. Matthew Lawrence definitely, and totally Joey Lawrence. So for those of you who are elder millennials, you will know who the Laurence Brothers are. The Laurence Brothers, yeah. You stealing my thunder there, John. Sorry. It's okay. So in the 90s, there was this TV show called Blossom. And it was a phenomenal, cultural, gigantic TV show. And it was one of the ones in the early 90s. And one of the breakout stars from that, who literally took over the whole fucking show, was an actor named not Matthew
Joey
Lawrence. Was it Joe? Yeah, it was Joey.
Yeah, it was Joey. Yeah,
Joey Lawrence. He was the oldest brother, and his big whole thing was being a fucking moron.
He didn't have to act.
No, but I mean, that was the thing. Now, I don't know if he has range. This movie clearly shows that he doesn't. But the point is that for about a good, 3 years, 1990, 91, 92, maybe a little bit of hair of 93, Joey Lawrence was the shit. You couldn't go anywhere. Like, I remember being a kid and Joey Lawrence being the shit. His younger brother, Matthew Lawrence, kind of picks up the baton in the middle 90s. You know, he starts to be in a, what was he? Was he in Home
Mrs. Doubtfire, I believe.
Oh shit. Yeah. He was in Mrs. Doubtfire. So yeah, Matthew Lawrence kind of takes up the mantle for a good couple years. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, there's a series that comes out. I think it was on like the WB or some shit like that. And it was called Brotherly Love. And that introduced us to Andrew Lawrence, the youngest, the youngest brother.
The Daniel Baldwin of the group.
Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry for our YouTube audience who's watching me drink water. But as I said, I'm dealing with the back end of a cold here. So the point is that, I didn't know what the hell happened to these brothers, because pretty much through the 2000s and the 2010s, you really didn't hear anything from them. So when I saw this, and I'm like, holy shit, not only is this movie directed by the youngest Lawrence brother, Andrew, but it features Matthew Lawrence in possibly the worst Texan outfit I've ever seen, with the worst mustache on an actor I've ever seen. And Joey Lawrence is clearly sporting Ken doll hair plugs. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
You can't lose that hair when you're Joey Lawrence, baby.
And he was known for the hair. Like, he had long hair, the long hair, leather jacket, and like, acid wash jeans. That was the Joey Lawrence look.
Don't forget the flannel shirt tied around the waist.
Because, we need to have that.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Damn it. That was like we were only there as observers for that one. That wasn't like in the shit. That wasn't really our thing. Gen Xers will probably feel more for the Laurence Brothers than we do. But yeah, so that's who made this movie. And what's hilarious about this is that, yeah, this movie features a bunch of C-list names just in them.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what's unusual about this B movie is we've seen some B movies that are totally awful, and feature no known talent. But this movie is unique in that it is a shit film, but features some okay names.
Yeah. And and the thing is, like, I hate to say it, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this is how Hollywood looks at it. Denise Richards being in her 40s, she might as well be dead. So they're horrible. Like, but she's a name, so
that's horrible.
They put her there. I'm not saying it.
I know you're not. I know you're not saying it. I know, and it totally is a Hollywood thing that they will say that yes, this is that's a problem. But she's a name, and if somebody sees it, like they think, oh, and they remember Wild Things, and they get a half a chub, and then they rent it from the Red Box. I don't think anyone gets half a chub from Wild Things. You get a full chub from Wild Things.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I'm in the middle of Walmart. And I got to
see Wild Things, and you're just like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I'll be right back.
In the Walmart bathroom, which is one of the worst places ever
to have an erection, or
it is
for anything really.
To go to the bathroom, it's the worst place ever. But yeah, so that's kind of the backstory behind this movie. Now what's funny is that in reading this apparently was inspired by movies like Ocean's 11 and Con Air. And apparently they only had one set, which is why the inside of this plane literally looks like the same place. And they were building things out and shooting in just little areas of this little set.
It looks like a middle school play.
It totally does.
Black curtains everywhere.
Oh my God. We haven't even gotten into that part yet. Now, I feel like this movie, to really understand it, you kind of have to not go necessarily beat by beat, but I want to go into section by section. So the first section of this is we're introduced to Edge. Okay.
And as Brian mentioned, Edge is a WWE wrestler. And,
yes.
And for the audience who never watches wrestling in any way, shape, or form, for all the Dwayne Johnsons and John Cenas and amazingly Dave Batistas of the world, there's 10,000 wrestlers who appear in movies like this. Anything from one-off to the 4 of Money Plane type of movies. And Edge is no actor. He can cut a decent wrestling promo, but this man is no actor. And
man.
And anytime a script like this comes across, Adam Copeland, his real name, story, he's gonna be like, yeah, I'll be in it. I want to be in movies, even though I can't act to save my life, and I look like
I gotta say his acting is better than who was it in the Space Jam movie that we watched. It was terrible. That I'm blanking
the entire cast.
I know the entire cast, but what's his face? Basketball star.
Oh, LeBron James.
James. Yeah. I will say Adam Copeland did a hell of a job when compared to LeBron James in terms of acting. Now, that's not saying much. That's like saying, I don't know, a red wagon is a better conveyance than a broken down truck. Like, it's still not gonna get you anywhere. It's still gonna take you days to get where you got to go. But I gotta say, Adam Copeland does. I think he's doing his best, but the problem is that he's really only got one face the entire time. And I think I described this to you when we were talking on Messenger about this, and I said that he has, for every single action, like when you're acting, typically you want to, like, I don't know, vary your facial reaction to something. He has only one speed, and it is a combination of constipated and confused. Like, that's literally his face the entire time. Constipated and confused.
he looks like a caveman. Well, I mean, he looks like a caveman in general, but he looks like a caveman who's learned that he can control his bowels, that he doesn't have to poop and piss himself. Like, that's for you, YouTube audience.
I think the thing is they forgot to tell him that they have this thing called a close-up. like it's almost like he's so used to, and I've seen this with other wrestlers who have been in films. Like Dwayne Johnson is the exception. But whenever you see wrestlers in movies, oftentimes it's almost like when you get theater actors in a film. They don't understand that you don't have to emote to this level. You can take it down a notch because we have this thing called a close-up.
Yeah, you don't have to play for the back row.
No, you don't. Yeah. You don't have a capacity crowd here, okay? You can quite literally, be subtle. And that's the best part with Adam Copeland's performance is its complete lack of subtlety. I mean, that's everybody's performance in this movie is a complete lack of subtlety. But his especially, like his facial expressions, like when he's in the cockpit and he's talking to Darius Emmanuel Grouch III, he's like this and this, bug eyes the whole time. And it's hilarious. It's really hilarious.
And that's for you, dear YouTube audience. And hey,
there you go.
To the podcast version is, you should totally check out the YouTube version of it, because Brian and I, without checking with each other, both are wearing Batman t-shirts.
We are.
And that's why we're doing a podcast together.
That's why we're doing a podcast.
And believe it
I think
or not,
last time we were wearing Batman t-shirts too.
Yeah. And believe it or not, we both have had sex with women. I know you're probably in disbelief, dear audience.
I've fathered a child. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Someone thought, you know what? This guy, I think I want to have a kid with him. But and good on her.
Yeah.
But the point is that to kind of get into this movie, you have to understand that the character that Edge plays is a man named Jack. Because every hero, when we can't come up with any sort of name, we come up with Jack. Notice that Jack Reacher, it's a common thing. Jack's his name.
It would have been amazing if his name was Edge. Don't confuse him. Just call him Edge. Yeah.
I'm embodying the character. My name is Edge. I get it. I get that's WWE, but you're supposed to be robbing an art gallery.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, love the subtext of putting the most bare bones lower third on a film art gallery. Money plane terminal.
Yeah. That's
a common thing you'll see in this movie is literally someone's job was to do the graphics, and they were like, well, what sort of graphics are we going to put in here? We're going to come up with the name of the art gallery, maybe show, I don't know, B-roll of it. No. Don't do any of that. Just put in lower third. Money plane terminal.
Yeah.
Art gallery.
And I will say this, because I always, people that are like, well, they probably just phoned it in because it was a shit movie and they knew that, or they weren't getting paid that much. But always, I'm a big proponent in, if you signed up for the project, always give it your most. And if the pay sucks so much, leave the project. Like, don't sabotage it by literally just shitting through the editing or shitting through the graphics or things like that. And this movie, you could tell nobody believed in this project.
No,
nobody.
No. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone phoned this movie in. I really think that, and that's why I think this movie does stick out more, and why people really gravitate towards it is not just because the name's involved. I really think that people watch this movie and they do see that these people are trying. They're just not very good.
Yeah.
That's the key there is, and I also got to go back to this. Your director does have a influence on your performance. And I'm not one of these believers who says the director doesn't do shit. No. The director really does shape the performance. They put the actors in a situation that they then come up with that solution to the problem. And I put a lot of the issues on this movie on two things. The writing, which is, terrible. And I mean, the concept alone is terrible. The concept of a casino in airplane.
Yeah.
Like-
For just a little bit of background, if anybody's aware of maritime law, the idea is that if you're on a ship, there's a certain part where you're out in like uncharted waters where you can commit any crime because there's no jurisdiction.
There's no government.
So somebody said, what about that? But on a plane with Caveman Edge and Fraiser and whatever.
Without really realizing that there's this thing in an airplane. It's called air, and it's called turbulence. And if you've ever been on a plane, you know that planes don't just stay very still. Like there are times when you're on a plane where it goes up and it goes down. It's not like a cruise ship, which that's why, you know, cruise ships are so large. And I mean, for the most part, you're not really going to run into, you know, crazy ass waves all the time. Yeah. That's why they're able to do things like casinos on cruise ships. But an airplane is an entirely different beast. So the concept alone is stupid. It's just fucking stupid.
It would have to be the size of Air Force One. And yeah, Brian, as you mentioned, like on a cruise ship, like you also have like a room.
Yeah.
You know, and like you probably don't have that on a plane again, unless it's the size of Air Force fuckity one. So well,
we never see the plane. We only see stock footage of the plane. But like the point I'm trying to get across is that, and it's going back to my point. The concept's terrible. So the script is terrible. And I'm sorry, but Andrew Laurence is terrible as a director. He's fucking terrible.
Who would have thought?
That's the only way.
Laurence Brothers.
That's the only way that I can put this is that Andrew Laurence must not know how the fuck to direct humans, because you've got Kelsey Grammer, who by all accounts, I mean, he's had some personal issues in his life, especially with like his marriages. But the point is like, I've seen Kelsey Grammer in good things. I've seen Denise Richards in good things. I've seen Thomas. Come on.
I'm giving Brian a very accusatory face.
Starship Troopers is a good movie. Okay?
Yeah, but she was purposely cast because she's terrible.
Shut up. I've seen Thomas Jane in good things.
Fair.
Okay. You can't just blame the actors as phone it in. I really don't think it. I think it's called they're given a shit director and a shit story, and they don't know what the fuck to do. Like that's why I think the biggest problem is with this movie. And that's just to give you some backstory here. But to jump into the plot here, again, plot's stupid. Edge, and I have someone refer to him as Edge, because that's who he is. Yeah. He is a career criminal who has to steal. In the beginning part of this, he's stealing a painting from an art gallery. And he, of course, because the story's terrible, we get a lot of voiceover. Now, John, what's your take on voiceover in film? Are you a fan of it, or do you think that it's lazy writing?
I always am a big proponent of the old adage, tell, don't show when it comes to film.
You mean like radio plays?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but look, I am king of that with low budget short films where I don't have a lot of time, I don't have a lot of budget, I need to get a lot of stuff across. So like the film critic in me wants to shit all over them for it, but the filmmaker in me has a little bit of sympathy for them being like, we need to tell everybody everything because we don't have any money or time or skill. So
see, I'm of the adage that if you have to tell everything, then what just spend some time. It doesn't take much. Like you're telling me you could not at all just, I don't know, come up with like a day of, instead of going on the fucking money plane set that you have, that maybe you just show a little bit of that backstory. Like it doesn't take much. But that's the thing is, and that's what I'm saying. Like I put a lot of the blame on Andrew Laurence because clearly he was more concerned with acting in his film. Okay, because he is in it. He plays, I think, what was he play? Is it Izzy or something? I think that's what his name is.
It's one of the gamblers, right? Am I getting my Laurence Brothers straight?
Iggy. Yeah. No. He's not one of the gamblers. He's the little guy on the ground.
Oh yeah. God,
yeah.
So many Lawrences.
Who has the firefight. and the drone helps him out with the gun that's just mounted on it. Handgun, by the way.
We're losing it. We're losing on this movie.
This one's all over the place,
yeah,
just like the movie. So my point is that I put a lot of the blame on him, because in the beginning of this, we really just get voiceover from Edge talking about how he has to have a plan A and a plan B, and you got to have a backup plan, and you got to have your crew. And that's when we get all our introductions to the crew, which of course is the most stereotypical crew you've got. You've got your moron, your sexy chick, your lovable sidekick, and that's it,
Well, don't forget too that we realize that this is like one last heist because he's a family man and he loves his family wife, Denise Richardson. He loves his family daughter, family, and he wants to be a family with his family. And when he gets back, he's gonna family the family out of this family. And
I mean, he's gonna family the family out of Denise Richards.
And she's like, I don't know. This one seems really dangerous. He's like the Rumble and shit. And he's like, no, baby, you know me. I can get out of anywhere because I'm so smooth. She's like, I know you're smooth, baby, but you look like a caveman and you're really stupid.
You've really thought about this one a lot, haven't you? Whole time you're watching Money Plane, you're just putting a porn fantasy right in your brain about what's happening there. Just because before this, you watched Wild Things.
Yeah. It was like, and I know you were great at WrestleMania 17 and the TLC match, but you can't survive everything.
Yeah. So without getting too off track, because we already have gotten the fuck off track, Edge finds that there's no painting to steal in this art gallery, and he's basically kind of shit out of luck because his client is Darius Emmanuel Grouch the Third, also known as
the Rumble.
And this scene, again, we've kind of gone off the rails on this episode, and that's okay.
This is what happens with these movies.
It is. So I love the fact, and this makes no sense to me, that even though Edge is working for this guy, it's necessary for Darius Emmanuel Grouch III to introduce himself after the fact. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like if you're working for this guy already, why are you introducing yourself? Like, that would be like, John, I've known you for years, and I just came up to you and said, hi, my name is Brian Coddington. Yeah. Even though I've known you for years. Like, that makes no sense.
I'm surprised it wasn't even that cheap line. Like, it kind of reminds me of like New Hope, like, I'm right here, Jabba. I mean, well, in the remastered ones where it's like, oh, so we know that's Jabba.
The shit ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised Edge didn't walk in and be like, you act like I don't know that you're Darius Emmanuel Grouch the Third,
also known as
the Rumble.
The Rumble.
He's like, damn right I am. Like one of those kind of cheap line villains.
Yeah. So the Rumble tells the Edge that he has bought his debt because apparently during Edge's criminal past, he has a lot of debts to some really bad dudes. Okay. And Kelsey Grammer has bought that debt. Okay. Which I didn't know that that loan companies also were in bed with the Rumble, because that whole thing is how student loan companies work. Right. Which is why we need student loan forgiveness, which, by the way, if the president is watching, please.
As we all know, Joe, Robert, or Robin something, Biden Jr., whatever, you're watching, I know. So
yeah, we know you're a fan of the show.
Thanks, Joey.
Yeah. Thanks, Joey. If you run again, we'll vote against you for the progressive guy. That's cool. But the point is that apparently the Rumble has his debt, and he says you've got one last score to kind of wipe out your debt, and it is to rob the money plane. Now, here's what he says about the money plane. He says, and it's the best. Like, he's like, there's a legend in the underworld of a plane where you can bet against anything. There's like $1 million on the plane and $6 billion in crypto, which, by the way, makes no sense because the fact that cryptocurrency is designed to be decentralized. So why is it on a plane?
And don't you have to mine it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I don't understand.
I don't understand.
All I know is that
either.
the whole concept is that it's a decentralized currency. So the concept that, it is centralized on a plane goes against the whole concept. It's like someone wrote crypto in there, but didn't do the research.
Nobody did the research for anything on this movie.
They did. So yeah, he says there's a legend in the world about a plane. It's got all the shit, and all the bad people in the world come to this plane to gamble on anything. And he says, by far, one of the best lines in the whole fucking movie. He said, and I'm gonna try to do my best. Okay, says, "You ever want to watch a dude? You want to bet on a dude fucking an alligator? Money plane." I can't even say it with a straight face.
All right.
You gotta try, John. You gotta try. That's right.
You want to bet on a dude? What is it? Fucking an alligator? Sorry.
Dude fucking an alligator.
Take two.
I'm keeping this in the actual podcast.
Oh yes, it has to. Yeah. Good. You want to bet on a dude fucking an alligator? Money plane.
What's the bet there? That the guy will fuck the alligator? Like, is that it? That he lives?
What? Whether he comes before he dies? I don't know.
Like, it makes no sense. What the fuck? Like,
there's no way that's going to work because that tail has to weigh so much, and you need to get that out of the way for.
Yeah, I mean, you got to lift that thing. You got to position yourself.
Wait. Do you put it on its back and then just like missionary the gator?
I mean, you'd have to break out the alligator Kama Sutra to really get a good feel for that sort of thing, right?
I've never seen a gator coochie. Is it like a human coochie? I don't know.
I don't know. It's green. It's green.
And how much
but anyway,
do you give the gator?
The whole time he's saying this. Now, here's the thing. You got to, every single time I was watching this, I'm just like, there's no way that anyone could say that with a straight face, because I couldn't say it with a straight face. So the fact that Kelsey Grammer, Fraiser Crane, Beast in the X-Men movies, renowned actor. I think Shakespearean actor, utters the words, "Dude fucking an alligator, money plane," is hilarious. And I don't know how the hell he was able to do it with a straight face. I don't know how Adam Copeland was able to stand there with a straight face and not bust out laughing. If you worked on Money Plane, if you listen to this show because maybe, I don't know, Apple Podcasts pops it over to you or you watch YouTube, please let me know. Did everybody bust the fuck out laughing? Because there's no way in hell that you could not say that line with a straight face.
Well, I think I have an answer for the two actors in that situation. Because, as you know, we mentioned at the very top, Geezer Teaser, like, and the main actor that they pay 95% of the budget to is there to sit in a chair the whole time. 95% of Kelsey Grammer's performance is sitting in a chair looking into like a computer screen.
To be fair, Adam Copeland does, I'd say, 75% sitting in a chair.
That's true, too. Yeah. Flying a plane like it's a car, going up and down on the wheel. That's again for you, YouTube audience.
You just do this. You got to do some wheel action there. That's how you fly plane.
So I think Kelsey Grammer doesn't have any feelings anymore. So he doesn't find anything funny or sad or anything. He just is dead inside. And I think Adam Copeland so desperately wants to be like, I'm so mad that Batista and John Cena and Rock are famous movie stars. I'm going to be famous too. This movie's going to be my big break. And so he's like, he's not going to crack up because like, oh no, I can't take any chance of halting my amazing acting career.
Yeah. This is the start. This is what in my Wikipedia, this is going to be the start of my acting career,
of my multi-Oscar career.
But yeah, so the whole concept is they got to rob the money plane. They the plan that they come up with is so laughable and makes zero sense. I don't think I can go over the whole thing, but let's just put it. What was that?
It's Ocean's dipshit.
It's really Ocean's dipshit. Okay. So the whole concept here is that Edge is going to pretend to be some human trafficker that his one person in his crew killed already because, convenient plot. And they're going to board the money plane with his partner and try to steal stuff there and leave and survive.
They're going to jump off the plane too.
Jump off the plane
after they digitize the cryptocurrency, which they could just do from the ground. Could they not?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is that what's his face? The director of the film is on the ground. Okay, and he's supposed to like capture all the crypto shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so they take care of the cash up in the plane, and the director of the film, Andrew Laurence, is down on the ground. In the desert somewhere, I don't know, if in a field, his backyard, capturing, getting the satellite feed from the plane to capture all the crypto. It makes no sense. You don't really need to understand it, because again, crypto doesn't work that way. So the point is they get on this, and you really get at this point a dive. Oh, and by the way, his one person in his crew is again the sexy assassin lady who just kills everybody. No joke. She just straight up kills people and puts them in a closet.
And I wonder if this movie, because this movie seems like the action movie with like boobs and blood. And I wonder if they were like, well, we want to be classy, so we probably shouldn't do blood. But like, hey, maybe that lead actress of ours, maybe like she can just, fight topless. And she went, I'm not going to do that. And they went, all right, well, we'll just keep the action part in there and hope that everybody just assumes there's going to be boobs and blood. Because she's clearly like supposed to get in a fight if this is like a movie from even the 90s. Like, oh no, my top got ripped while I was fighting and here's my titty.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. So good on you, Andrew Laurence.
Good on you, Andrew Laurence. You did a very, very good woke movie.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Your movie's shit. But as someone who, respects that, I give you props for that. So I'll only give you, half a star for that one. So I got to talk, because again, the concept of this is so stupid, but you've got the appearance by Joey Lawrence in this, and he plays the concierge, but he doesn't say concierge. What does he say, John, when he introduces himself? Remember?
Oh God. Is it concierge? Concierge. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's hilarious about it is that the other actors in the scene like look at him at the moment that he says that, and they're like waiting for the director to yell cut, but it doesn't happen.
Joey's the older brother, so yeah. You can't yell cut on your older brother.
No, you can't, because Andrew's just sitting behind the camera just going like, there was that one time that Joey did a swirly on me.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't want to go there. He's fine. Concierge, whatever. No one's gonna care.
It takes 2.5 minutes of Wikipedia to know how to say your lines.
Concierge. You click the little preview. Yeah. It tells you how to pronounce it.
It's concierge. Yeah, like the robotic voice.
So we board the plane, and I gotta talk. Would you want to talk a little bit about the villains in this, like the actual scumbags who are on the plane?
Oh yeah, it's a murderer's row of stereotypes of douchebags, ding dongs, dickheads, and dullards.
Yeah. It's pretty, and they're of course the most paper thin of characters here. Like you have and the best part is that they're so proud of all of the horribleness that they talk about. You're like, yes, I sold arms to Afghanistan. I did child slavery. Isn't that awesome? Like, I murdered this and they're just talking about it out in the open, like you and I would about a movie, that we saw.
It's like Neil Green punched up this script.
It is. It really is. But yeah, they're shitty as all hell. The concierge comes out and gives the rules of the plane and basically says that cheating will not be tolerated. And of course, we have to see him later in the movie kill someone because they cheated. Okay. And they just basically go through the rules and say that anything in the plane you can bet on. And do you want to talk a little bit about the bets and some of the games that actually are showcased in this film? Because they're not your ordinary like poker, although that is there.
Well, real quick, I thought Mr. Rumble set up that like there would be men fucking gators. I thought the whole point
there was no men fucking gators.
Well, not just literally that, but I thought there are no rules. Anything goes. You can do literally anything, but all of a sudden it's like a goddamn ride at Cedar Point. Like you got to be told all the ins and outs. Like you can't stand up here. You got to make sure your thing's buckled in. Like, I mean, couldn't these guys, these psychopaths, just literally shoot Joey Lawrence and be like, "Oh, it's legal money playing"?
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, why couldn't you just do a bet right there of who here bets, $5 million I can kill the concierge right now?
Yeah, and after he's dead, who wants to bet that I'll come on his shoulder, or like fucking his shoulder blades or his ear? Like. I mean, I thought everything went money played, but yeah, they get all these fucking rules, and then they just fucking played cards for the next like.
They play
minutes.
Cards, or they do the weirdest thing. Like first of all, there's a whole subplot in here where Edge's partner on this, and I think I'll find his name because I don't want to just call him that guy, but I think it's Trey. Okay, so Trey is on the plane with him, and of course. We got to have a little bit of humor. So Trey basically survives every bet that he goes through. He wins. And he goes by the name of Mr. McGillicuddy, which again, congratulations. You don't know how to write a fucking script because that's the best name you can come up with. That's really the best name you can come up with.
It's comical.
Yeah.
It's a funny movie.
It's a funny movie. So anyway, McGillicuddy ends up winning all these bets, and it is stupid how he wins because of course like I'm watching him just going like, let me guess, he's gonna win every single thing. He wins it at poker, he wins at Russian roulette, he wins the whole idea of how long it's gonna take before someone cuts off their arm. Like these sorts of bizarro bets, these horrible bets, he ends up winning all of them. and it's stupid. It's stupid. Now, speaking of which, I want to talk about the Russian roulette scene because that part is hilarious. You want to talk about it, John?
No, please. Please.
It's Matthew Lawrence's
feed me. I'm your baby
crowning role. It's his crowning role. So Matthew Lawrence plays the Texan or the cowboy as he's credited in here.
Well,
and as I mentioned earlier,
range.
Oh yeah. Went from Mrs. Doubtfire to this. And he comes out, he's like, Mr. McGillicuddy, we're going to play some Russian roulette. Okay. And he's like, I'm the champion. It's like, dude, there's like a 50-50 chance that you win.
Yeah.
That's not a champion of anything. That's just.
It means you haven't died.
It means congratulations. You haven't fucking died. That's not champion. Okay. So yeah, he's like, we're going to play Russian roulette. And he ends up in this back and forth between McGillicuddy and the game person, whoever the hell it is. I forget what the hell his name is, but they end up going back and forth because, the Texan wants McGillicuddy to go first. And the person running the games is like, no, you're the champion. You can go first. You don't have to go first. And it goes back and forth. He's like, I don't care. I can't lose. And so he takes a gun and shoots himself in the head. And I gotta say, I laughed.
Yeah, which is kind of great. Yeah,
it's kind of great. But it's like Matthew Lawrence in the worst mustache I've ever seen. Like it literally looks like you got it from Spirit Halloween.
Just grow
it on there.
I mean, just either grow a real mustache or don't have one. There's nothing in the role that requires you to have a mustache.
Not every cowboy has to have a mustache.
I mean, if it was like the Tom Selleck story, I would get it. Because then you need to have a mustache.
Yeah. So the point is that like that's one of the ridiculous things. But yeah, there's no dude fucking alligator money plane. None of that. So while all this is going on, you've got Edge getting into the cockpit. Now, here's the funny thing. He gets in the cockpit, beats the shit out of the captain, and forgets that airplanes have co-pilots.
Yeah.
Like, no joke.
That's supposed to be his like real charming moment where he goes, "Oh, I forgot the co-pilot."
And the co-pilot kicks his ass.
Yeah.
Like, kicks his ass completely. And has one of the most bizarre fights, which I'm just going like, Edge is pulling all of his fucking punches in this fight. Because I'm like, you hire this guy to do all these fights, and he's losing out to the co-pilot. Co-pilot ends up getting knocked out. But then here's the bizarre part, and this is the part I don't understand. He spends the rest of the movie in the cockpit. The Edge, or Edge, okay? Not the Edge, that's you two. But Edge, he spends the rest of the movie. This is the guy you hire to do fighting. That's literally all he's got. Yes, he spends his whole time, with the exception of like the last bit, in the cockpit of the plane while everything else happens outside of it. It makes no sense.
Well, see, I hope they didn't hire Edge for like fighting and stuff, because like there's a term in special effects, not special effects fighting, but stunt fighting, called potatoing, and that's what they do in professional wrestling. Is that like, are they hitting each other? Yes. Are they pulling the punches? Of course, but like, they are hitting each other, and it does hurt. But when you're on a film set, you don't really potato a guy. Like,
no,
you got to pull the punches. So like, if you think you're hiring a wrestler to like fake hit somebody, you're making
you've hired the wrong person.
Yeah,
that's what it is. You've hired the wrong person. But yeah, he spends his whole time in the plane, in the cockpit of the plane, while everything else happens around him. The sexy woman on his team ends up she stabs some guy with a shoe.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
correctly.
Yeah, she sex fights everybody.
She sex fights everybody and puts them in one little closet.
Yeah.
And I think she even I think she smashes some guy into a DVD player. Like literally into his There's a server fight that happens during this whole thing, and no joke, the servers are actually CD and DVD players. Like literally a CD pops out and falls on the ground.
The server. That's my Dr. Evil air quotes impression.
Yeah. So while this is going on, Edge decides that I forgot to mention. So Thomas Jane, the Punisher, okay, is Edge's best friend for reasons. Okay. And he's kind of, I would call him like the Deus Ex Machina of the movie. Like whenever shit's about to go down, Thomas Jane shows up. So while this is going on, apparently the Rumble is trying to kill like Edge's family at the same time, and like kill Andrew Laurence, who's out in the like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, these are the guys who are robbing shit for you.
Well, he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
He's not. He's not at all. So yeah, there's a scene, and it makes no sense in the movie. That Andrew Laurence is on the ground. Again, the director is on the ground, and he's getting like ambushed by all of the Rumble's men for, again, reasons I don't understand why. And Thomas Jane comes to his rescue, not by just like showing up and being Thomas Jane, the Punisher, and like killing everybody. No. We get instead a gun shootout with a drone. And we're not talking about like a Predator drone. We're talking like, I don't know, your Walmart drone.
Yeah, one you can buy like Target for like maybe $225.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the best part about it, folks, is that this drone is packing. It's packing a handgun that just goes pew, 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 pew. Because drones can do that, apparently.
Hey, they needed to pay that Grammer money. They don't got money for Predator
Well, here's
drones.
what I don't get. This is what I just don't understand. It's not hard to just find stock footage of a drone. Like, you're telling me you couldn't find stock footage of a drone? You hired a VFX company. If you actually look in the credits, they hired a VFX company. You're telling me they couldn't put together a 3D model of a drone, just even After Effects, just flying around and like shooting people? Couldn't do it. So it tells me that, and the funny thing is I actually looked up like the VFX company that they hired, and they actually do some pretty decent stuff. So that tells me that they just didn't give them any money to do anything.
And they said, fuck you.
Decent.
Yeah.
And they said, fuck you. Because the VFX in this movie, and I'm going to jump to that next, is really shitty, for lack of a better term. It is quite literally the copy paste, boom, boom, whiz, whiz, bang, bang VFX. There's nothing really there. It's not color corrected. It's not actually integrated in. It's shitty. And they just slapped it in there and just called it a day. That part they totally phoned in. And
at least
again,
it's the same aspect ratio.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's this shootout with the drone. The drone kills everybody because Thomas Jane the Punisher is operating it, of course. And then, of course, down the line, apparently they come after him directly. And that's when he finally decides to, I don't know, be a badass and shoot people. But yeah, while they're robbing the money plane, this shit happens. Edge decides that he's not going to steal for Darius Emmanuel Grouch III, the Rumble. He's instead going to just rip off the money plane and donate all of that stuff to charities that have been affected by the bad people. And this is where you get I say this is the second best line in the movie. It's Edge calling the Rumble a little bitch.
I think you're just a little bitch.
I think you're just a little bitch. What?
Yeah, what?
I am Darius Emmanuel Grouch the Third, the Rumble.
I am the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
And what's funny is he kind of what Edge does in this is he kind of pulls a Michael Keaton in Batman Returns. Do you remember in Batman Returns when Bruce Wayne decided he was going to turn the city of Gotham against Penguin? So he records.
Yeah.
He records Danny DeVito calling Gotham. What was it?
Don't worry.
I played this city.
I'll take care of the wretched, squealing pinheads of Gotham.
Yeah.
You have to admit, I played this stinking city like a heart from hell.
Yeah, because you need to do that. But the point is he does the same move. Edge pulls that same move. So you know that the Laurence brothers must have loved Batman Returns and like, that's a cool idea. Let's pull that for Money Plane. So yeah, while Edge is having this back and forth with the Rumble, he records him saying that he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet and he's ripping off the Money Plane, and then plays it on a loudspeaker for all the terrible people to hear so that they call down and have, like, I don't know, real assassins kill him. So it's kind of brilliant. Unrealistic as shit, but yeah, so what ends up happening is Edge steals all the shit and opens a door in the airplane, and this has got to be, no joke, the weakest ass fan in any movie. So they open up the plane, and sure enough, there's just a fan on the outside that's just blowing a light breeze out into the plane. And I'm just going like, this is decompression, dude. Like,
yeah, you
would be sucked out. You wouldn't. And and they're just like, no problems. Like you're what, 25,000 feet up in the air, more than that, 40,000 feet.
And these poor actors are just there to like do what they're told, and like, yeah, oh, there's no air pressure. Okay, I'm not going to respond to anything.
Yeah, and they're just like, it almost looks like they're throwing the money out because the weak ass wind isn't doing its job. It's kind of like that scene in Ed Wood when Martin Landau is just taking the octopus legs and he's moving them all around. He's just moving around, I look like killing you.
Well, it does remind me, like when you said like Edge in the cockpit, it's like, hey, Mr. Wood, where's the cockpit? You're standing in it.
You're standing. Yeah.
Mr. Laurence, where's the cockpit?
Where's the cockpit? You're standing in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all the money flies out, and I just got to think to myself, I'm like, these guys just killed Darius Emmanuel Grouch, the Rumble, and they ripped off the money plane. Don't you think they're going to come after Edge and his crew?
And I'm pretty sure his debt wasn't going to officially be paid off until he pulled this heist off. So he's still horribly in debt and
probably going to die because they're going to come after him. Because like the bad people in the money plane probably are a little bit smarter, little bit than Kelsey Grammer. So it doesn't really make any sense how he got away, but he did.
Well, and of course they're going to come after that decrepit old osteoporosis-ridden bitch, Denise Richards. I mean, he can't move now without her bones turning to dust.
Because Hollywood.
Because Hollywood.
Yeah, it's sexism. Gotta love it. But yeah, so I'd say the last part I want to talk about with Money Plane is just the scene where the assassins are actually coming to kill the Rumble, and he realizes he's fucked. And one thing, he tries to lift a table to like throw it, like he gets and then realizes he can't do it.
Yeah.
So instead, he grabs a gun and is like, "Rumble time," and screams as he's shooting a gun. Oh my god!
With some of the worst machine gun. Some of the worst machine gun effects I've ever seen in my life. And
it's no joke, just stock that's just thrown on. It's not even tried to blend in.
Yeah.
No one tried.
Yeah, we're in the last 5 minutes of this picture. Fuck it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you need to have the good stuff. That's the climax of the movie. Okay? If you don't have that shit in there, it's a bad movie. That's the last taste people have from the film. If they're still watching. But I don't think Andrew Lawrence cared. But yeah, that ending, it's glorious if you're thinking about it as a bad movie. It's terrible as trying to make sense of it. I know that for me, and for our audience who's actually listening, if you listen to this episode or watch it on YouTube, you probably know that this has been kind of a clusterfuck of an episode. And that's not by design. That's just because this movie is a clusterfuck. But with that said, John, do you have some final thoughts on Money Plane?
I think Money Plane it's an interesting, because I like to break down when you're looking at terrible movies. Like, if you've listened to any of our episodes on like Neil Breen or Tommy Wiseau and you've seen those things, like, it's not that level of terrible. There's enough money for it to be not an F, but a D minus. Like, this is like when really bad meets a decent enough chunk of change. So if you're one of those people that can't watch bad movies that are just so piss poor, bottom of the toilet, like Last Vampire on Earth, kind of bad, like, this has enough of a money budget behind it, budget, you might be able to laugh a little bit better at this, because it's just it's a spectacular time in movie history of like what I call the red box wonder,
I mean, for me, it really comes down to the only reason that this movie is memorable is because of the actors involved in it. I really think that if you had no name actors in this thing, then no one would watch it and no one would know about it. And we say this all the time, that a lot of indie films, they tend to grab some name. That's kind of a strategy of finding some name to put in it. And usually it's done for positive things. Usually a movie might have a pretty decent script. It might have some budget behind it, and they just need a name in there to attract attention. Because unfortunately in this industry, you can have, Citizen Kane, but if no one knows who's in it and there's no name associated with it, then no one will watch it. And that's a common thing I see. So that's why you see, like Liam Neeson movies that are terrible, or
Russell Crowe,
or Unhinged is a great film. But like you see these actors and they're like one name is in it, and a lot of time is mainly because they need that little extra oomph just to get distribution, just to make some money back on it. Yeah. With this one, that is the unique thing about it, is that this terrible film has so many names associated with it. Denise Richard, Thomas Jane, the Laurence Brothers. Even if you want to say they had their time in the 90s, and they totally did. People love the Laurence Brothers back then. They were the shit. And of course Kelsey Grammer and Edge. All of these actors are name actors, even if they're just like C and D listers. They still have a following. They still can be put on a poster. And that's what's unique about this, is that this massive shitball of a movie has that many names associated with it. Yeah. And it clearly says that Andrew Lawrence should never direct anything.
I don't know. He got us talking about it.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about it just so that I can, grow my podcast. There you go.
Yeah.
It's totally selfish reasons. Yeah. Plus you gave me this fucking movie.
Yeah,
asshole.
It's my fault. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess I should be glad that it's not a Breen movie, because that's what I really don't want. And I think you've got one.
We have one left. We have one left.
Was a Twisted Pair?
Yeah.
Because one Breen isn't enough. You got to have two Breens.
Yeah.
All the Breens. He's got another one coming up, doesn't he? Is he making a new one?
Well, he made his documentary on the art of filmmaking. Right. But yeah, I think he is working on his fifth opus.
Because his ripoff, his documentary of film. I love that. And this is completely off tangent. Okay, if you're watching this now, thank you. If you're listening to this far, great. Neil Breen, I got to say, the cojones on this guy. The cojones on this guy. The balls on this man. He goes ahead. He makes this, 13-hour course. He calls it a documentary, and then markets it as like a like one of those master courses, like where you have like David Fincher teaching you directing, that you see advertised on YouTube on Facebook and YouTube. He does one of those deals and calls it a documentary. So even in marketing his piss poor, shitty ass filmmaking, he gets the mark wrong on that too. He calls it a documentary, but really a documentary is a story about your filmmaking, and it's nonfiction, but then you market it as a class and charge, what was it, like 170, 100, 160 bucks? It was expensive. It was a lot. I know you told me about it, and I was like, don't pay that.
I'm still thinking about it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, I know you want to learn from the master.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like if Werner Herzog just had like a tumor-filled diarrhea instead of his own insights.
Yeah. These are my insights on filmmaking.
These are how I look at filmmaking.
This is how I look at filmmaking. This is the toilet. In the toilet, the idea of cinema comes out of the toilet. That's my Werner Herzog impression.
Money played.
So, with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internets?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all basically under my own name, and on YouTube at JDubs Video Nasties. Check that out. I got interview with Adrian Barbeau. It's up right now. I'm going to be doing so many questions on Willy Wonka.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a solid one because it's terrifying. The whole concept.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video that Corridor Crew put out of the R-rated Willy Wonka?
Oh no, but now I want to. Yeah.
You got to check it out.
Yeah,
check it out. I'll post it in our links here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the horrible things happen. It's all R-rated, like blood and gore and shit. That's awesome. Anyway, be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie you want to or a question you want to throw away, or maybe you're Andrew Laurence or any of the Laurence Brothers, and you don't like the fact that I shit all over your money plane, come at me, bro. Contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. Be sure to subscribe, follow us wherever you listen to audio, and we will see you all next time.
I can't wait for Andrew Lawrence's next movie, Debt Bus.
Epicast.